You are listening to The Objective Jerk, and I am said jerk. Oh, that used to be my intro. You are listening. Yeah. Anyway, what's up? This is my third straight day recording a podcast. So, yeah, my kids are back in school. That was kind of the problem a little bit, was like summer. I mean, they've been in school now for a couple weeks, but it was kind of crazy because it was like storms and rain and everything. So it's like they were getting dismissed early, and then my wife, her culinary school, same kind of thing. And then she's going to physical therapy, so it's kind of interfering with her classes. So she was missing classes, so she was home. So I didn't have a whole lot of alone time. So that was a little bit of why I haven't really been recording much podcasts. But now I'm alone, about to get started doing some honeydews. And, I need to hide this. I forget, because I keep looking at myself because I'm vain, I guess. I don't know, I just want to make sure, whatever. Now I have my little He-Man figure right up on my monitor for me to look at. So it's like I'm looking at you. See how this works? So I can see He-Man, although it's kind of dark. Anyway, what's up? So there's a couple like little things. I talked about how I'll take notes on small topics that I would talk about, for a podcast or whatever. Like one topic by itself is not going to give me an entire podcast. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't. And so I have a list here that I never went through and talked about. And so I wanted to talk about Trump and weed. So, and then so I was adding that to, my list. And I was like, oh, I didn't even talk about any of this stuff. So this is kind of a makeup cast, I guess. I don't know, because some of the stuff is a little dated now, like Sydney Sweeney ad, when that was going crazy. Now that's, it's pretty much over, but I'll still give my opinion, I guess. But anyway, so that's all. I just wanted to kind of talk about some stuff that's going on in the world. Yeah, but so how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's good. All right, so the first thing I have on here, so a while back, man, I want to say this was about a month ago, but Time magazine put out the 100. Was it 100? Maybe it wasn't 100 because that'd be almost impossible. But anyway, it was like the top whatever most influential podcasts, and the Joe Rogan Experience wasn't on there, and it's like, it's the most viewed, downloaded, whatever podcast. How is it not on there? You know what I mean? So it's crap like that. It's like that just, man, I had like a lot of opinions about it at the time, but now it's kind of stupid when you think about it, when they have these dumb, it's all just like, it's propaganda basically. When you boil it down, it's propaganda, because that's complete bullshit that he's not. Maybe they don't want to put him number one. Okay, I get it. You want to put someone else, but like I did a quick glance over, and it was like most of the podcast I never even heard of. Everybody's heard of JRE, good or bad. Everybody's heard of it, right? But they're just trying to push all this other stuff. Like, oh, look at all these. Nobody gives a shit. It's just like the who posted the worst to best Marvel? I can't remember who it was, and it was just the most ridiculous, idiotic list. It's like, oh my gosh. And yeah, so it's just it's all propaganda. They're all just trying to push, oh look, this is the best, to get so that people will maybe go and watch it more, or check it out, or think, I don't know, like it's not true, but then it's not really effective propaganda, I don't think. I don't know. But anyway, It's retarded. That's basically what it is. But yeah, so I mean, to have some sort of list with the podcast and not have JRE on there, it's like it's retarded. If you wanted to say left wing podcast, then okay, but don't say all podcasts and don't have the most popular podcast in the world on there. That's just, come on. Or they could have been like, we're looking at less popular, obviously. That would make a little bit more sense, I guess, to be like, we're taking away Joe Rogan. I mean, who's some other ones. I can't think of any right now, but I mean, the ones that everybody knows, let's remove those and try and give a little props to these lesser known influential ones, or something. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Sydney Sweeney ad stuff was just straight up retarded. You got a hot girl selling jeans, and they try and freak out about it and make a big deal out of it. It was just, I don't even feel like talking about it because it's just so over now. But anyway. Me too. Oh, okay. So I was going to talk about another docuseries that I watched on Netflix. Because I keep talking about how I, as far as TV show and film, I'm watching older stuff, 30 years ago or more, 20 years ago, I'll watch something new occasionally, but man, it's pretty rare. But the new things I watch are like docuseries, right? And Netflix, sometimes they do a good job and sometimes they don't. I can't remember which one it was where it was like just right at the very end, they had to put something in there. And it was just like, come on. They got to put it in their little agenda every time. And so I watched two of them actually. They both, for the most part, were good. There was one, Amy Bradley is missing or whatever. So this girl who ended up missing on a cruise ship, I had never heard about it. Or they were at port or whatever, but they were on a cruise trip, whatever, and she ended up, going missing, and the cruise company kind of dropped the ball, and I don't know, just that's the scary thing about being overseas. A lot of people don't realize that things that happen in the States, it's not the same in the rest of the world, so you can't just make things happen and get the police involved and all, you know what I mean? It's just, it's scary, but it's crazy because the evidence that they have, I think she's still alive. I think, the poor girl was sex slave, and maybe now she's somewhat normal life, but she has children, I think, from whoever, and so she can't leave those children, and if she would not be able to leave she could not escape with her kids, and she can't just leave them, so she's there, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go into details about it because this podcast isn't about everything about that, but yeah, there's a lot of podcasts and YouTube channels that do talk about it. So Amy Bradley, watch the documentary, look it up. It's kind of a crazy story. Next. Oh, and then the other docuseries was From Rockstar to Killer, right? A French rock musician who got in an altercation with his famous actress girlfriend, or were they married? I can't remember. And, she ended up dying, and the whole thing was just like, what the crap? But then, goes on to show that, the guy is a douchebag, and he was, he abused women and all this kind of stuff. And the first, I want to say it was like 3 episodes, but like the last episode was just all like Me Too kind of crap, believe all women. I don't know, it went from a docuseries to like a feminist kind of, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like the Me Too thing was kind of annoying, I mean, it was good to an extent, but it's like the tagline "Believe all women" I think is bullshit, because how many women straight up lie about that crap to get stuff? You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's, the guy is a douche, and he has his Rockstar life going. So I mean, that's kind of shitty. But they just kind of ruined it. I don't know. I mean, if you're watching the documentary, it's almost like they started the documentary thinking they were going to have some kind of conclusion, and then they didn't really have a third act for it. Like maybe they were going to file something and he was going to maybe be in jail. So at the end of, or I don't know. And it was like, oh crap, they got nothing. He's still free. What do we do? Well, let's just, talk about Me Too, I guess. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But it kind of ruined it. Happy Gilmore. So I watched Happy Gilmore. Love the first Happy Gilmore. I remember when it first came out. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it when it was first released on video. And it's a classic. I own it. It's fun, and it's funny. I don't like all of Adam Sandler's films, but I like most of them, really. And they're all they're entertaining. His films, whether they're good or bad, they're entertaining. My absolute favorite Adam Sandler film is The Wedding Singer. And then Happy Gilmore would probably be second. But so Happy Gilmore 2. I thought half of it was pretty great and the other half was just okay. People were pissed that his wife died from the golf ball, but it's like, well, it's like the first one when his dad died, but she was in it still in flashbacks and whatever. So it's not like, she was still, the actress got work, you know what I mean? She was still in the movie. I liked the whole his family dynamics and stuff, the losing the home and then their life and him doing whatever and this and that. What I did not like was the tons of cameos. Some cameos are fine, and some of them were funny, but it just kind of got to be a little annoying. And I did not like the competition golf, the new golf system thing, whatever, and I didn't like all of that crap. I wish it would have been a little more grounded, more on him just getting back into the regular golf. And you know what I mean? I think there's two movies there. The family with heart side, and then you had the crazy TikTok whatever, and so yeah. But I watched it with my family, all my kids, they had fun with it and stuff like that, so I can't complain. So in that aspect I enjoyed it. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I'm sure probably someday, but I can watch the first one many times. All right, recent video of black people assault. Oh, that lady that got cold cocked. Where was that? In Cincinnati or something? I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that. All right, so the thing that kind of gave me the idea to turn on my podcaster today was Trump, and he's, I guess, discussing maybe changing what is it called? I can't think of the word right now. The level of what weed is, the level, gosh, because every drug and you have different narcotics and this and that, and I can't think of the stupid word right now, but they have different levels. Anyway, like lowering it or getting rid of it or whatever, basically making it like cigarettes or alcohol. I think I've talked about it before. I was never a stoner, but if close friends had it, then I was stoned. You know what I mean? Like I never owned and bought anything. It was just, if it was around, yes, I partook. You know what I mean? but then I ended up joining the army and all this other stuff. So I didn't for the longest time. So legalization and everything, I think is fine. I think it's kind of what's not working now is just because it's still illegal on the federal level, and there's all this kind of weird kind of, I don't know, red tape in between. I don't know. It's kind of retarded. Um, it does bring in a lot of money, but there's so much else that can come from hemp and weed and everything. Um, and yeah, it's like you're gonna have like where I was at in Washington. It was like everywhere we walked, it was like just weed, skunk weed everywhere. You smelt it, and it was just like, gosh, very annoying. So I mean, I think they could make it just like cigarettes, or drinking. It could be pretty much like cigarettes because you can't smoke anywhere in restaurants or anything like that now, in bars and stuff anyway, you know what I mean? So they could do the same thing with weed, but just do it one step further and be like, you can't do it in public, you know what I mean? You can't park in a parking lot and smoke in your car and this and that. Like that should be either a designated like weed bar or your home, you know? If you gotta be in public and whatever, then that's what edibles are for. You know what I'm saying? So, because that's just kind of, and I think that would be easy enough to do. And then a lot of people are always like, I just don't understand, why can't they blah blah blah. And it's like, well, I mean, as far as I know, I didn't look to find out. I know before they didn't, but maybe they have some kind of new contraption now. But there's no way for like a law enforcement, like if somebody's driving erratically or whatever, and they pull them over and they have them do a breathalyzer, they blow. They're not drunk, but it's obviously they're incapacitated in some way. I mean, you can tell if somebody is off, and then what they would do is they would take them back and they'd probably get their blood drawn. They would know like if they're high on Oxycontin, or they find physical evidence along to whatever. But that was always kind of the thing though, is like with weed, is you can't really measure how stoned someone is, because weed is crazy. You know what I mean? You could just take a little bit and you get a little whatever, but if you smoke a lot, then you're a lot more stoned. So it's kind of it's a slippery slope. It's a tricky situation. But with that said, I would much rather have someone who's baked, stoned, drive my kids to school than someone who's like intoxicated, drunk. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I mean, if he, and then I think, I don't know, maybe because I guess a lot of people that are in prison because of drug, marijuana related offenses, but it's like, well, that was the law at that time. So it's like, okay, you change the law, they get out earlier. It's not like they can be like, oh, I was falsely in prison. No, because that was the law at the time, but now it's fine. So you get out earlier. I don't know. There's a little bit of that, I think, too. But I think they can basically make it like alcohol and like cigarettes, basically. Because I think cigarettes are worse for you than weed. And from everything that I've read and whatever, that's true. And alcohol is worse for you than weed. You know what I mean? Like, and then again, if you're like a person who smokes it all day, every day, then, it could affect you more. And then somebody who just gets stoned one time, it could really mess them up compared to most people. That's just like it just kind of does something to them. Everybody's different. People are like allergic to caffeine, but most people are fine with it. I can drink a shitload of caffeine. Doesn't do anything to me. I used to work with a guy who drank one energy drink once and he had to go to the ER. Same kind of thing. You have somebody who can smoke a bunch of weed and it helps them and they're fine. Then you have someone who smokes some and they're like, oh my God, freaking out. And, they don't do well with it. So it's just pretty soon it'll be, go to your doctor and find out if, weed is right for you. I mean, it's the way it is. Or you just have to like make sure you're home, take a little light edible and see how it reacts to you. Or I don't know. But with the way things are going, I think it'll, even if Trump doesn't, I think eventually it will be, because it really is a nothing burger, I guess you would say. I mean, I guess you could. That's what you could do, right? Let's say you could get like a nice porterhouse steak, right? Pull someone over, find out if they're stoned. Here's a nice porterhouse steak. Here's a bag of Doritos. Which one would you rather have? They pick the Doritos. They're stoned. You give them a ticket. I don't know, but yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. What are your thoughts on that? What's the other thing I had? Oh, so I guess like the Epstein. Well, this was on. I saw this on CNN. I think it was CNN. Like polls, and polls are so. I've never ever done a poll. So who's doing these polls? You know what I mean? When people call, I don't know. But anyway, supposedly people are just not interested in Epstein anymore. And to be honest, I'm kind of one of those people. Like I mean, I want the list to come out. I want to know what the heck was going on in that house with all those cameras and all this stuff. Something was going on. And it wasn't just Epstein getting freaky, you know? I don't know. I think there's more to it. And I'm tired of all the gaslighting about it. I just want to know, you know? So that's for me, I'm not, until I see names and list was released, this is who's going to jail or who's being prosecuted or whatever, I'm done. I'm done caring, you know what I mean? Because I mean, why can't, what's the problem? And the only thing I can see is just you have, and I'm not saying Biden and Trump went to the island and humped a bunch of girls. I mean, it's pretty obvious Clinton did and certain other people. But I just think that there are people on both sides that would be hurt, whether legally or, you know, their reputation or something, and they're just not allowing it, you know, so, and it's on both sides. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the left are corrupt pieces of shit, and the right are corrupt pieces of shit. All politicians are shit. They're all garbage. They really are. You can't put your faith in Democrats or Republicans or even the American government system. You just can't. You can't. You can put your faith in Jesus and move on. That's about it. I mean, what else can you do? Because it's all the same crap, you know? And Republicans now, the views and everything the Republicans are what the Democrats were 20, 30 years ago. Republicans 20, 30 years ago weren't talking about legalizing weed. You know what I mean? So conservatives are now the Democrats from 20 years ago. And the Democrats are liberals, and then the conservatives, who knows? I don't know what. I mean, you still have some, but it's just, you know, it's shifted, and it just keeps going more and more left. Pretty soon, conservatives are going to be where the Democrats are now in like 20. You know what I mean? Like and I think that's the goal. That's the plan. Try and get rid of all the morals and all the values that conservatives have are just slowly being let go. And no matter who you vote for or whatever, it just keeps happening. You vote for a Republican, it slows down a little bit. But when you go Democrat, real quick, that just all this crap goes on. Then you vote for a Republican, and the same crap still happens, but just at a slower rate. So quit putting your faith in the government. Put your faith in Jesus, and that's all you can do. All right. Appreciate your time. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a good one. God bless, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye.